What's up, everybody? How is everybody doing? I hope everybody is doing all right and taking care and staying well and staying hydrated and keep praying and keeping the faith and keeping on. I wanted to jump on here and do this brief video. I'm going to freestyle this. And I just wanted to talk about health and wellness today, and just share a little bit of my own testimony, and something that I am going through that is quite current. So I'm just going to talk about a little bit about weight journey, because I feel like that is something, and especially at my big age, that I can say I've truly struggled with. I've struggled with my weight, and honestly with eating the right foods and eating healthy nutritional meals. And I just wanted to talk about that because I know that some of us, just in our journeys of life, we all have our struggles and things that we struggle with. And I feel like a lot of us often struggle with our weight and with taking the time to slow down and really take care of ourselves and eat well and prepare our own foods in our own kitchens. And so I am getting back to that because recently now, I'm gonna tell you what, I made a declaration at the beginning of this year. Let me just say that I wanted to lose 50 pounds by the time I was 50. Doable, right? Because my birthday is in November. So I'm like, that's doable at the beginning of this year. So it seemed like as soon as I said that, everything went left. Like I don't know what it was. Like I just could not focus on eating well. I could not focus on exercising. Like I would exercise for a couple weeks and then I would stop, or but my eating was just always a mess. It was a mess. And I remember prior to that, in like I want to say 2014, I had a health scare, and it kind of scared me because I am not the type of person that wants to take pills. I'm not a good pill taker. I don't like to take pills, for different multiple reasons. And so all the doctor has to do is tell me something about myself is off, where I think that I may be on the pathway to taking a pill. And talk about scared straight. I am going to be on the straight and narrow. So during that time, I started this health, changing my eating habits. And it was a lifestyle change. And for years, I lost a lot of weight. And for years, I was able to keep that weight off by just being consistent and just consistently being intentional about what I was eating. So fast forward to now, because I had gained all of that weight back and then some. But fast forward till now, and so I had yet another health, I wouldn't even say scare, just something that just was like a warning. Let's just say that. Just a health warning that came up, and it was like, you need to lose some weight. And part of the reason why this is so dear to me is because the weight isn't just about physical weight for me. Oftentimes, when someone is overweight, there are things that they are carrying. They are carrying a lot of emotional weight, and that comes out in their physical weight. It shows. And in how they choose to eat and how they're eating and how they choose to care for their bodies. A lot of us growing up, there's so many dynamics to it as well, and I understand all of that. But for a lot of us, we weren't taught to take care of our bodies like that. We weren't taught to eat healthily, a lot of us, or the focus was more so on weight because it was about looking, your appearance, but it wasn't necessarily about what was on the inside, the things that we need to take care on the inside, because what's on the inside is going to come out in some some way, shape, form, or fashion. So I think that for me, I had so much going on that I just really, and just a lot of noise and distraction going on in my life, and raising three young men, and trying to raise them up to be the best versions and men that they could be. And so a lot of my time and effort and energy went into making sure that they were okay, and making sure that they were well and taken care of. I got so hyper focused on that I did not and couldn't focus on my own health and well-being. Now, I was going to the doctors and checkups and all of those things, so don't get me wrong there. But when I talk about eating right, and yes, I was preparing foods and all of that, I was cooking for my kids, but it wasn't the healthiest of foods, let's be honest. I think the best thing that I did for my kids is, because I used to buy my kids, like, everybody in the household would have their own pack of soda. But someone came into my life and spoke a word into me and said, hey, why are you doing that? You need to be giving your kids water. Like, they don't need all this sugar, they need water. So I started just getting water. And from that moment on, for years, been years, like, I don't really buy sodas. I don't drink soda. I drink water, and my kids, I always buy water, and it's been that way for years. So that being said, I am now on this weight loss journey. I had to go and speak to a cardiologist about some minor issues, and he was talking to me about changing my diet, and that I needed to lose weight. And he was so encouraging to me. Now, some people can come to you and be encouraging to you, and then there's others that you're not listening to them because their delivery be off, and it just don't be right. But the way he was talking to me, it really uplifted me and encouraged me to want to get back to the way that I had been eating prior to when I gained all my weight back. So now I'm on this weight loss journey, and I have a goal. And my goal is to lose 25 pounds in 6 months. And so for the last 2 weeks, I have been on this get back to eating right regimen for myself. And I just wanted to come on here and share that with someone, because it is not easy when you have a goal of any kind, but especially when dealing with your weight. For many, and for people that look like myself, and for many other people, that just have had struggles with their weight. And a lot of it that we're carrying, we have to be honest with ourselves, is our emotional state of mind that we're in. We're not focused. We're not thinking about ourselves. We're focused over here. We're focused over there. And so sometimes, if you don't slow down, I remember hearing this along my journey too. If you don't slow down and take care of yourself, your body is going to slow you down. Is so many of us leaving out of here so early in our 50s and 60s from things that I truly and honestly believe could be resolved with the way that we diet, and we have to also combine it with exercise. They go together. You can't have one, to me, without the other. They both go together. And it's just not for looks. It is for health and well-being. So when you're making a lifestyle change, just know that it is for life. Like, this is a mindset. This is a mindset change. It starts with your mind first, and it starts with your intentionality and being intentional about how you're eating, how you're showing up for yourself, how you're showing up for yourself emotionally, and knowing your triggers. What are things that trigger you? I know that I'm an emotional eater, so when I have those emotional times, or times where I know I'm getting emotional, I have to really slow down and really be right there in that moment and center myself and say, girl, no, you have a goal. You have something that you are trying to do. And I think that if we start changing our mindsets to say, this is my lifelong goal, and it's not necessarily about me looking a certain way. Now, I am going to lose the weight, so I'm going to look thinner in the next 6 months. But that's not my goal. My goal isn't to look thinner. My goal is to feel better. My goal is to change some things about the inside of me because I don't want to take a pill. I don't want to be on medications for the rest of my life here on earth. So I need to make some changes. And that's how we have to think of that thing. We got to start taking care of ourselves emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and physically. We have to take care of ourselves because those are all things that are combined. And I wanted to give a couple of tips. Some things that you could do is, again, like I just mentioned, is knowing your triggers, knowing, first of all, learning your own patterns and recognizing your own patterns, slowing down to really be intentional, to pay attention to your own patterns. And then recognizing if you are like a person like myself who is an emotional eater, knowing what triggers you to eat, how you feel, all of those things go in together. And going to the grocery store, when you're in the grocery store, being intentional about how you're shopping. My mom used to do this a lot because my mom had high blood pressure and other things that she was dealing with. And so when she would go into the store, she would turn over everything and be looking at the details. All this, she'd be looking at all the details, and it would drive me crazy back then. But now I see why she did that, because she was doing it with intentionality, because she knew she had something going on with her, and she was intentional about some of the foods that she chose to eat and not eat. Your environment that you're in plays a role in that. If you're in a bunch of chaos and a bunch of toxicity and chaos all the time, your eating habits are probably not going to be the best. So you have to get your living environment together, and just your environments, period. If you're in an environment of high stress, if you're in an environment of chaos and toxicity and arguing and this and that, where you can't focus, where it's just too much, you have to stop. You have to get to a place where you can take some breaths, breathe in and breathe out. And you have to do that so that you can think and focus on yourself and your well-being. And especially for us mothers, because we are always thinking about everybody else to the point where we just, we on surface level, we'll do stuff surface level, but deep down on the inside, we're really not taking care of ourselves. So we have to do that. Another thing is to not bring, one thing I did when I lost all my weight before was I didn't bring a lot of sweets in my house. I didn't bring a lot of bread, and I cut out the cheeses. And I know people are so addicted to these things, cheese, bread, and sweets. They get us all the time. And those things you have to keep at bay. Now, it's not to say you're never going to be able to have those things again, but you're going to have to make a hard stop on them for a little while until you get to your goal. And then you can slowly, in very, very moderate proportions, very small portions, bring them back into your diet. And another thing is exercise. Now, exercise is something that we all struggle with, and I think it's because sometimes it can be hard to find what's right for your body, and what works for you. But one thing you should know is that it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. It is what works for you. You have to start somewhere. So even if it's taking baby steps, like I broke my exercises down to 5-minute increments. My walking, when I would walk, I would break it down, and people would look at me like I'm crazy. But hey, it has the same benefit. I'm getting in 45 minutes of walking a day, breaking it down in 5 minutes, or however, just to get yourself started. And sometimes you have to build yourself up to that level as well. So you may have to walk 10 minutes a week or something like that, just to get yourself built up, and then you can do that, and then slowly bring in like some sort of small weights or something like that. Now, we're not trying to get buffed up. We're trying to exercise our muscles and use those muscles and things like that. And also, you can hire a trainer. I had a trainer at one point in my journey as well, because I needed that to help me to, because I didn't know anything about, anything about like what my body, what I was supposed to do right for my body type and for my body style, and he did. So I went to him for a few times for a few years, and he was getting my body right. He was getting me, and I wasn't buffing up. I was losing the weight, and I felt better. I just felt better when I was going to him, and I never forgot the things that he taught me. So I will definitely be incorporating some of those things into this journey. So I just wanted to say that, and just take your time and don't overwhelm yourself, but just be intentional about treating yourself well and about losing some weight, because a lot of the things that we are going through is because we are carrying the weight. So lose some of the weight, lose some of that emotional weight, lose some of that mental weight, lose some of that spiritual, I ain't gonna say spiritual weight, because people will misquote me, but y'all know what I mean. Lose some of that weight that you've been carrying around inside, and then start to work on yourself and start to focus on yourself. So that is all that I wanted to say today. I hope that you guys continue to have a great rest of your week. I'm going to try to upload another video possibly this weekend. I was under the weather this past weekend, so that's why you're getting this a little late. But I hope and pray that everybody continues to be safe and stay safe. Take care of yourself. Drink your water too. I forgot to say that. Drink plenty of water. I have my water bottle. Here's my Tabitha Brown water bottle. Drink plenty of water, and make sure that you're getting plenty of water on your diet, and continue to take care of yourself and be the best version of yourself that God created you to be. Peace.